Hey there, yogi. Welcome to another video with Roots of Peace Yoga. I'm Chelsea. This is Luna, who now we have to resort to treats to get her on camera because she didn't wanna. So anyway, with that, this video is gonna be a little bit different than the past ones. She's still looking for treats. Sweet, she'll stay on camera longer. Basically, I wanted to share with you my Ayurvedic practice that I do every day. It's pretty simple, and it's something that I use to stay in balance, to help myself feel better. So I've been wanting to share that with you, and today I was drawing a blank in terms of what to come up with for a video theme, for a flow. Having a weird week, so I thought I would take this opportunity to share my Ayurvedic practice with you and some other things that I have found extremely helpful as I continue my quest for wellness and balance in this crazy world we live in. So in case you don't know, Ayurveda is basically yogic medicine. It's the science of life that these ancient yogis studied the world for a long, long time, and they came up with cycles and gunas, which are pairs of opposites, and constitutions that we all have. And the constitutions are Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which are basically making up the elements. But I don't want to overwhelm you, so I'm not going to break that down too much, but just share these simple practices that I've implemented into my life that I believe really help me out with my anxiety, with wellness, with depression, all the things. So with that, and some of these I've been practicing for roughly 3 years, like when I first got certified. So when I wake up in the morning, after I drag myself out of bed, sometimes I snuggle with Luna a little bit, the first thing I do is I tongue scrape. So this is my tongue scraper. It's copper. Copper is wicked good for you, so if you can get any sort of copper stuff, there's tons and tons of benefits. You can Google that. But anyway, so my tongue scraper, it's wiggling. This is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. And for a little over a year, I was doing it wrong. So I want to make sure that if you start tongue scraping that you're doing it the right way. In your tongue, you have all sorts of pressure points that link down into your organs. And so this is a really good way for you to wake up your organs in the morning. It can help you with your digestion and your elimination. So what you do is you take the bottoms, these little loopies, and then I'm not gonna do it, I already did it today, but you take the curved part and you scrape your tongue. My mom has started doing this, and she has been noticing just changes in her health in a positive light, not necessarily contributing it to tongue scraping, but in terms of wellness practices, less is more, and this is such a simple tool that can have big benefits. So in the night when you sleep, your body is processing and it's detoxifying and it's moving waste out. So when you get up in the morning, ideally you go to the bathroom and then you eliminate what your body has pushed out in the evening. Your tongue is no different. So when you wake up in the morning, most of us have some sort of coating on our tongue. So tongue scraping gets those toxins off your tongue so you're not swallowing them again throughout the day. And you can go into this a little bit further. The color of whatever you scrape off your tongue can tell you certain things about your health. So it's another good window into what's going on in your body and what you can do to continue to take care of yourself. Okay, so tongue scraping is number one. The very next thing I do is I put on the kettle. So we just have a saucepan. We're gonna call it a kettle for fancy reasons. I drink hot water, and those of you that know me know that I drink hot water all the time. I rarely drink anything less than warm water. The reason being is that my constitution is primarily Vata, which is wind energy. It's air and space coming together to create wind. And so Vatas are usually cold. They're usually dry and rigid. And so in Ayurveda, to balance yourself out, you want to do the opposite of how you normally feel. So if you're always cold, you want to try to keep yourself warm. And if you're always hot, you want to cool yourself off. However, if you are Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, hot water is recommended for you no matter what your constitution is. So even if you like burn hot during the day, your body temperature is like raging and you're just one of those people that like sweats a lot, you should still drink hot water. And I will explain why. Hot water is closer to your body temperature. So when you consume hot water, it's easier for your body to absorb and take in that water. So you're less likely to be dehydrated. When you drink cold water, that temperature is much lower than what your natural body temperature is. So when it gets into your system, you can think of it as like a tensing effect. Like when you dip your toe in a cold lake and you're like, oh, it's so cold. Basically the same thing happens with your internal organs when you drink cold water. It's causing things to freeze and tense up because it's cold, and it's shocking because it's not the same temperature. When you drink hot water, it has a much softer effect, and it basically acts as Drano for your system. So if you have problems with elimination in the morning, hot water is another good way to help you move things along, just like the tongue scraping. But hot water, like I said, absorbs better. So the more you drink hot water, you'll start to notice that, oh, maybe I don't have to drink as much water during the day. Those of you that pound cold water, you may find that like sometimes you don't always feel properly hydrated. It's because it's cold and it's harder for your body to let it in because it's cold, so it's shutting things off. And with the hot water, making sure that it doesn't burn you, of course. I've done this more times than I would like to admit. So warm to hot water, and if you absolutely like can't stomach it, my parents are this way, like they think I'm crazy for drinking this hot water. However, when I went through my first yoga teacher training, I called my dad because he was experiencing tummy issues during that time, and I was like, hey, try drinking hot water, even if you just do it like first thing in the morning, and then like that's all you do for hot water, and then you go back to cold the rest of the day. But he found that his tummy troubles lessened because then that's all he changed, was he was drinking hot water. So warm to hot water, make sure it doesn't burn you. If you have to go like room temperature, it's better than ice cold water. And I know some of you are like, oh, I love cold drinks though. Yes, you do. So a lot of times our constitution, we crave what we're not necessarily supposed to have a ton of, like everything in moderation, of course. So with me being Vata and me being like dry and rigid, I love crunchy, dry things. Like if we're talking about like chips or crackers, they're hard. Whereas for me, I should be eating soft, warm things, if that makes sense. So I'm really drawn to the things that my body like doesn't process super well sometimes. And again, like I said, everything in moderation, but give it a try. And if you're not really even a water drinker, I would highly suggest just trying even like 8 ounces of warm water first thing in the morning for 2 weeks. When you implement new health habits into your daily routine, you gotta give it time. There's no quick fixes in life, we all know that. And so if you can give these practices like 2 weeks to see if they work for you, amazing. And if they don't, they don't. Every body is different. We all operate differently. Okay, so that was kind of long-winded, but I am a firm believer in the hot water. So tongue scraping, hot water, and my husband actually too was having some tummy issues around Christmas time. You know, you get extra things into your digestive tract that don't process as easily. So I suggested he pick up drinking hot water again, and he did, and it smoothed things out a little bit, which was really nice. And in the winter, you should drink hot water if you can, because it's cold, so you want to keep your body as warm as possible and in its balanced, natural homeostasis state, which would be staying warm. Okay. The next thing that I normally do is my breath work. They're called Kriyas, and I do 3 of them for 2 minutes apiece. When you implement new routines and new habits into your lifestyle, it's good to simple, less is more, as I said before. So even if you just try to do like 1 Kriya right when you wake up and that's all you're gonna implement for 2 weeks, that's amazing, because if you try to do too much too fast, you'll drop it. This is why a lot of people don't stick to their New Year's resolutions, because they're like, oh, I'm gonna eat broccoli every day, and I'm gonna have celery juice every day, I'm gonna hit the gym every day. That's a lot. It's a lot for your body to change with, and it's a lot for your routine to change with. So tiny steps for big accomplishments. So the Kriyas. The first thing I do, and I always have this is my like fancy meditation stool my mother-in-law got me for Christmas. I have a hard time meditating. I'm just gonna let you know that right out the gate, but my Kriyas are my way to meditate. So I usually use my meditation stool and I'm kneeling like this. I also, if you have a block and a bolster and you build a yogi ramp, you can sit on it just like this. You can also sit crisscross applesauce. You can do this first Kriya standing as well. Lots of options. So this one is called Kapalabhati, which breath of fire. It's also called Shining Skull Kriya. Basically how it works is you make your fingers the peace signs, or you can have your palms open, either or. I switch depending on how I feel that day. So if you're into mudras, you can dive into this a little bit more. So peace fingers or open palms, and then you're gonna extend your arms straight up, and then it happens to be a coughing through your nose. So your eyes will close and it'll look like this. Deep breath in, exhale, inhale, and go. So it's a forced exhale out your nose, and then the inhale happens voluntarily because it's a lot of forced breathing way down into your belly and way down into your diaphragm. In Ayurveda, we believe that you have this internal flame called Agni, and the Agni is this fire that burns in your belly, and it's responsible for helping with your digestion, emotion regulation, all the things. So I Kriya for my digestion, but also it keeps me in balance. I've had some huge emotional breakthroughs throughout my Kriya practice. I used to do each one for 3 minutes a piece, so you can build up to more time or continue to do less time, but your Kriyas are a good way for you to get down into your body and work through your emotions, which I've done multiple times. So again, breath of fire. This one's stoking your Agni up, and then it's like you're coughing through your nose, so you're pulling your navel into your spine, and then when you finish, when your timer goes off or whatever, you will hold your out breath and squeeze your pelvic floor, and then breathe in when you need to. Pretty simple. Again, if you have any sort of medical hiccups, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, any sort of those things, I would consult your doctor before you start breathwork practices because they can be pretty intense for your body. Or if you're not one of those, because I'm not one of those, I hate to say that, but I take my health into my own hands. I'm fairly healthy, so I don't have to consult a doctor because I'm pretty in tune with my body and I don't have any big things, any big issues in my system. So Google it if you're like, oh, I have this and like maybe breath work isn't for me. Look it up. There's all kinds of resources online, but if you, like I said, have high blood pressure or any sort of ailments, it's a good idea to check in with your trusted physician or your trusted sources online before you start any new intense practices like this. Okay, and with that little disclaimer, we're gonna head on to the next one. So the next one is called spinal flex. And this one, again, you have to be seated for this one. And it helps if you can kneel this way. So if you can sit on a pillow or again, like a bolster, but if you have to sit crisscross applesauce, totally okay. So how this one works is you'll have your eyes closed again. You'll take a deep breath in through the nose, exhale out your mouth. And then as you begin, you're gonna inhale through the nose and then out the mouth. So as you inhale, you're arching your shoulders back, pushing your heart forward, hands are sliding back close to your hips, and then you're pushing it forward. So we're kind of stoking a fire and moving things out. So it'll look like this. And again with this one, when your timer goes off, start with a minute, even 30 seconds. You'll squeeze your pelvic floor, hold your out breath, and then release your pelvic floor and breathe in when you need to. So it's this pushing out. You're trying to push out what's not serving you. So when you get going with your kriyas, you may notice emotions bubbling up. That's what they're supposed to do. When we first started these in my first training, the emotional impact that these had on people was straight up astounding. It was surreal almost. Like, people were accessing things that they had buried deep for a long time. So it was very cool to see these really simple techniques that you don't need anything to do work so well for people. That's why I really wanted to share them with you. When I don't Kriya, I got out of them for about a month back in October, November, and I could tell, like, my emotions were all over the place, my digestion was all over the place. So if you find these practices speak to you and you work with them on a regular basis for a while, you may start to find relief, and I really hope that for you. That's why I wanted to share them, because they've been extremely powerful for me. Okay, onward and upward. Kriya number 3. This is called spinal twist, and this one you have your eyes open unless you suffer from vertigo. So if you suffer from vertigo or you get dizzy easy, try this one slowly with your eyes closed. But if you get dizzy quickly and you just know that right out of the gate, just skip this Kriya. Don't do it. So you're gonna bring your fingertips up on your shoulders like this, and if you have any sort of shoulder injuries or pec injuries, chest stuff, you can cross your arms so that your hands are over your shoulders so that you're not so open in the chest. So here or here. As you inhale, you're gonna twist to the left, and as you exhale, you're gonna twist to the right and sigh it out the mouth. So these are meant to sometimes get loud, and they can be, the noises that you make can be a bit scary. When I was first doing these, October of 2019, my dogs thought that something was wrong because I was so loud with them, because you're verbally trying to push things out of you and move through them. So you're gonna inhale, exhale. So it'll look like this. With this one, if you stop suddenly and like start talking again, like, can be a lot going on. With this one, when you stop, when your timer goes off, you hold your in-breath and squeeze your pelvic floor. So this one is opposite. And then, so hold your in-breath, squeeze your pelvic floor, eyes are closed when you end, and then breathe in when you need, or breathe out when you need to release your pelvic floor. So this one is good to twist things out of the body, and we're wringing out clutter, which I like to say a lot. But, so anyway, those are the 3 Kriyas: Kapalabhati, spinal flex, and spinal twist. And if you look up Kriyas, it's K-R-Y-A-S. I had to think about that for a second. There's tons of them. There's all kinds of like different modifications. If you're a lady and you happen to be on your moon time, it's recommended that you don't practice Kriyas, because it's a lot of heavy breathing and pushing down in that area where things can be a little sensitive during that time. So if you're trying these for the first time and you're on your moon, wait a little bit until it's over and then you can give them a shot. But if you are on your moon, you can just practice like steady breathing, which is the next thing that I'm going to point out. Sometimes I don't feel like doing Kriyas. They're a lot. And physically, like, sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to. So I said I don't really meditate, but I tap into my breath. So sometimes I will just sit and take very long inhales and long exhales, really watching my breath and what it's up to. And then I'll watch my body, how it rises and falls with every in and exhale. The next practice I'm going to give to you, these are a lot, but I'm hoping that you'll pick 1 or 2 and give them a shot and see how they go. Like I said, I've been implementing this into my routine for 3 years now, but I'm very happy with the routine. I look forward to it in the morning. It's a good way for me to wake up. So hopefully you can get something like that cultivated for yourself as well. The next one, Soham meditation, I have done in past videos, but I'm going to run through it again just in case you missed those particular videos. Soham meditation is really good if you suffer from anxiety, of which I do, and depression, which normally I don't have, but and for those of you that do, it's a rough game, so I'm very sorry for that. But So Soham meditation, you can practice this. I'll do it sometimes when I can't sleep. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It's a good way to try and calm your brain space down. So you will close your eyes, and we'll start with how you watch your breath. So as you inhale, you are imagining your breath coming from the tip of your nose, traveling all the way back to the space behind your heart. And as you breathe out, your breath is leaving the space behind your heart and coming back out to the tip of your nose. So again, together, inhale, watching the breath through the tip of the nose, coming in behind your heart space. Breathing out, releasing the breath from the back of your heart, back out to the tip of your nose. So now that we've got the watch, we're gonna add the words. So you say to yourself, so, as you inhale with your breath coming from the tip of the nose to the back of the heart, and as you breathe out, releasing the breath, you say hum from your heart space to your nose space. So inhale for so, exhale for hum. And letting those words run in your mind as long as your breath lasts is extremely important. The next one that I have is just a full body scan, and these are typically a yoga nidra thing, which is also known as sleep yoga. It's a guided meditation that gets you to access your inner body, your bliss body. And sometimes I do these with my live classes. I think I've done them online before, but basically it's a body scan. So you just start at the tip of your toes, and then you think through the parts of your body as you move up. And you can get as specific as you want to, but it's also a good way to just check in with yourself, either in the morning, or if you're taking a break and you're like, I'm just gonna lie down, or I'm just gonna sit down. You can do a quick body scan because it pulls you into the present so that you're not running around, rattling around up in your headspace, which I often do. So again, these are things that work for me. They won't necessarily work for you, but if you're looking to balance out some more, it's a good thing for you to try. The last practice I'm going to cover with you is my crazy brain activity stuff that I do. Sometimes you just need to focus on something else if you find yourself spinning your wheels about a certain topic or whatever. So we're going to start with peace, okay. So you take peace on one side, okay on the other, and then you switch when you're ready, going back and forth. So this takes practice. Those of you that have done it with me before know that it's really hard right out the gate. I think this is my third year going with this, but it takes time, and it's a muscle memory thing too. But you're going from peace, okay, to okay, peace, back and forth. I have some people that just close their hands, so watch your fingers to make sure that you've got one on one side and one on the other, and then switching. These are good, as I said, to pull focus. They're good activities for your brain. They can help prevent Alzheimer's disease and things like that down the line because it's working left brain, right brain with your tissues. So, and this is not a cure or anything like that. None of this is suggesting that it's a cure over modern medicine by any means, but these are tools that you can use to avoid dis-ease and disease down the line. Okay, so the other one that I'm going to show you is you're going to make your hands into fists, wrist pointed forward, and then your left thumb is going to come out and your right pinky is going to come out, and then you're going to switch when you're ready. This one's harder for me, and I found that one is harder than the other for people. I still don't know why. I would love to know. But you're just switching your fingers back and forth. Some people find it's easy to close their eyes and do it. Some people find it's easy to do it to the beat of music. But do your thing and give them a shot. They're fun to do with family members, things like that. They're good icebreakers. So yeah, so those are my practices, and a couple more things I want to throw in before I wrap this video. I started implementing ghee into my diet. So ghee is spelled G-H-E-E. Looks like this. It's clarified butter, essentially. It's really good for you in Ayurveda. How you consume things and process things, how your body gets nourished is broken down into like 8 levels, and your reproductive organs are last on that list. So they're number 8. So if you are malnourished in any way, shape, or form, or your diet is maybe lacking, which all of our diets kind of are because of, you know, the way the food pyramid is and things right now. I'm not gonna get into it because that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, very frustrating. But so ghee is said to head straight down to level 8 to your reproductive system. So it's a good way to nourish your body, and it's very good for you, and I find it very tasty. My husband Chris doesn't see what the big hubbub is, and it's getting, as with everything, it's getting a little expensive. So if you're tight on money, like maybe that's not something that you go for, but I love cooking with ghee, and it's very nourishing for me specifically. The last thing that I'll share with you that I do for my Ayurveda practice, and I think I covered pretty much everything minus my yoga practice, is Abhyanga. So Abhyanga, which is weird to say, is basically a self-massage. In Ayurveda, we believe that oil is the purest form of love. I order through this company called Banyan Botanicals, and I will add a link in the show notes. But they have these really great oils. So I use sesame oil. Coconut oil is very cooling. So if you happen to be cold all the time and or you know you're a Vata, maybe try sesame oil or a different one, because as I said, like coconut is cold, but if you're Pitta, coconut oil is good for you. My mom is Pitta. And if you're wondering what your constitution is and you're like, okay, she keeps saying this, but like I want to know what I am and I want to know what my gunas are, your pairs of opposites, you can take a quiz online on Banyan Botanicals and it'll save the information. They explain things so well if this is your first experience with Ayurveda. But again, I'll link that in the show notes, and you can explore some more if you wish to. Abhyanga, as I said, it's self-massage. So I have a special Vata oil through Banyan, and it's got lavender, sesame oil, some other stuff in there. But you practice this with intention. So I take time, I do it probably 3 times a week. Normally it's at night, sometimes it's in the morning. And I do this when I'm having a rough time, when I don't feel good about myself, or when I'm having a hard time with my self-worth or my self-love. And sometimes I do it just to do it because it's amazing. But you take your oil of choice and you warm it up. I have a little glass bowl and then a shot glass. I put hot water in my glass bowl and then my oil in my shot glass, and I stick that in the water so that it heats up the oil. And then with intention, you rub this oil all over. Sometimes I start with my face and then I head up my body. I make sure that I do everything, my armpits. If it's hair wash day, I'll do extra oil and I'll rub it into my hair because it's very good for your scalp and your hair as well, especially like in winter, we're all dry. So any sort of oil massage is extra great because your skin absorbs stuff. We take things in through our skin. And when you are massaging, going long up your long bones and then on your joints, rubbing in a circle, which once you get into it, like I really like to rub my hips because my hips are always sore, and my shoulders. So long strokes up your long bones and then circles around your joints. Again, that practice is called Abhyanga. It's been super helpful for me on so many levels. When I first started doing it, I was like, I don't see what the big deal is, but now I crave it. Like I'm ready for that practice. I light candles, I burn Palo Santo, I put on dope, sweet, chill music. I really like make this a whole practice just for me. And so maybe Abhyanga isn't for you, but doing that in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you make a cup of tea and you read a book and that's how you self-care. Like that's beautiful. Okay, so those are all of my Ayurveda practices and the tips that I have for you that I've been wanting to share for a long time. So thank you for watching this video and hearing me out, because I firmly believe in these practices. If you have any questions, please comment, shoot me a message. Let me know. I would be happy to help you on your Ayurvedic journey or your wellness journey, because I truly, truly believe we all deserve to be healthy and happy. Thank you again for your time. Namaste.